2025 isn't even over yet, but we already know the second half of the year will be marked by several goodbyes. Some of our favorite actors and idols are about to enlist in the military, and we're about to tell you who they are and when they're leaving. First on the list is Jay Wook, and his enlistment date is already confirmed. The actor, who's only 26, will enlist on July 11, 2025, according to an official statement released by CGS Studios. He chose not to postpone the process any longer and decided to serve as an active duty soldier, which means he'll go through standard training and then serve in the army for about a year and a half. For those who don't know Jay Wook very well, he's one of the most respected actors of the new generation. He gained popularity through dramas like Extraordinary You and Alchemy of Souls, where he showed a very intense acting style and strong screen presence. Despite his young age, he's known for choosing complex roles with a lot of emotional weight, which helped him stand out in the industry, even competing against more mainstream faces. What caught people's attention about his enlistment was how discreetly he chose to handle everything. No public farewell, no events. He also asked fans to respect the moment and not visit the enlistment site, which touched a lot of people. It's clear he's taking it seriously. Another interesting point is that Jay Wook is closing a very promising chapter in his career. He had already signed several endorsement deals and was in talks for new projects, but he put everything on hold to focus on his military service. Still, the expectation is that when he returns, he'll be welcomed back with even more affection, especially since Korean audiences tend to deeply respect artists who fulfill their duty responsibly. In short, Jay Wook is leaving this July and should return in early 2027, but his career is expected to remain strong when he comes back. After all, he's got more than enough talent and charisma. Next on the list is Rowoon, and this enlistment is surrounded by a lot of anticipation. Even though the exact date hasn't been confirmed yet, it's already known that it will happen in June. Following the natural birth order, he was born in 1996, and the Korean law that requires men to enlist by the age of 28 at the latest. The timing makes sense. It also seems strategic. He's already wrapped up some commitments and is visibly slowing down his schedule. For those who only know his idol side, it's worth remembering that Rowoon started his career as a member of SF9, but in recent years, he truly made his mark as an actor, and not just any actor. He became the lead in hit dramas like Extraordinary You, She Would Never Know, and Destined With You. With a strong on-screen presence and a striking appearance, Rowoon captured the public's heart, not just with his looks, but with the emotional depth he brings to his roles. He can be sweet, serious, intense, all in one performance. But all that popularity also came with some backlash. In 2023, he announced he would be pausing his activities with SF9 to focus solely on acting. Many fans took it as a definitive departure from the group, which caused some controversy. Some criticized how he communicated the decision, saying it felt like he was abandoning his bandmates. Others defended him, arguing it was a natural move, especially since his acting career had clearly taken the lead. Either way, this enlistment is likely to mark a new beginning when he returns, possibly with a stronger focus on more mature roles. And speaking of maturity, Rowoon seems to be preparing himself well for this new phase. Recently, he's been steering clear of scandals, maintaining a very neutral public image, and building a reputation for professionalism. That's a big plus when an artist has to pause everything for nearly 2 years. In fact, a clean image is one of the most powerful tools a celebrity can have in Korea, and Rowoon knows it. One more interesting detail. Fans are speculating that he might try to serve in a special unit, like the military band, since he has a background in music. But so far, nothing official has been confirmed. What is known is that he's expected to serve as an active duty soldier, which is the most common path for celebrities. Now it's time to talk about what's probably the most famous name on this list, Cha Eun-woo. The Astro member and actor is set to enlist in the second half of 2025, and according to recent reports from Korean media, he has already completed the first part of the application process to join the military band, and is now waiting for the final interview results. In other words, the enlistment is already underway, and if everything goes as expected, he could begin his service as early as July. This announcement took many fans by surprise, especially because Eun-woo is currently at one of the busiest and most successful points in his career. In 2024, he starred in A Good Day to Be a Dog and Wonderful World, and also appeared in numerous luxury brand campaigns. He's not just beloved in Korea, he's extremely popular in countries like Japan, Indonesia, and the Philippines. That makes his enlistment even more impactful. It feels like both K-pop and K-dramas are temporarily losing one of their brightest stars. But to understand the weight of this moment, we need to look back at his journey. Cha Eun-woo has always been seen as too perfect to be true. Handsome, polite, smart, a good singer, a decent actor, scandal-free. But that image also came with pressure. For years, he was criticized as being just a pretty face, especially when he started acting. Many said he lacked depth, and that all his roles felt the same. But in recent projects, he managed to shut those criticisms down, especially in Wonderful World, where he delivered a more intense and emotional performance. It was a clear attempt to establish himself as a serious actor, not just a pretty idol. The timing of his enlistment also stands out. Unlike some idols who delay military service as much as possible, Yoon chose to go at the right time, without seeking any special treatment. At 27, he's doing exactly what's expected, and that's seen positively by the Korean public. If he's accepted into the military band, he'll likely still have some public exposure during his service, since the band participates in events and performances, which could help keep his public image alive even while he's away from the stage and screen. What everyone agrees on is that this will be a tough farewell. Fans are already preparing themselves emotionally, and his agency Fantagio is expected to organize some kind of special send-off. Most likely he'll pre-record content to be released during his time in the military. In any case, the second half of 2025 will definitely be marked by this pause in the career of one of Korea's most beloved faces. But if there's anyone who has the potential to come back even stronger after military service, it's Cha Eun-woo. Now let's talk about Kang Daniel, who is also expected to enlist in the second half of 2025. Unlike the others on this list, he's not a full-time actor, but he has been active in variety shows, reality programs, and is getting closer to the drama world, to the point where there were already rumors of him landing his first lead role before news of his enlistment plans surfaced. In recent interviews, he made it clear that he intends to enlist in 2025, by the end of the year at the latest, which got fans paying close attention. For those who haven't followed his career closely, Kang Daniel rose to fame as the winner of Produce 101 in 2017, which earned him a spot in the group 101. Since then, he became a phenomenon. When the group disbanded, he launched a solo career and, despite legal issues with his former agency, managed to maintain a fiercely loyal fan base. He founded his own company, released albums, won awards, and became a brand ambassador for major companies, all before turning 27. In recent years, Daniel has become more reserved. Although still active in music, his release schedule has slowed down considerably, which many interpreted as a strategic preparation for enlistment. In terms of public image, he's known for being polite, low-key, and extremely dedicated to his work. He's never been involved in any major scandals. And in Korea, that goes a long way when it comes to how the public views celebrities who are about to enter military service. One interesting detail is that, due to past physical issues, including a knee injury, there were doubts about whether Kang Daniel would be assigned to active duty or alternative service. But close sources have indicated that he intends to complete standard military service as an active duty soldier, which can also be seen as a way to maintain a strong and clean reputation for his return. This period of absence will mark an important hiatus in his career, but it could also be a chance for a fresh start. Kang Daniel has already made it clear that once he returns, he wants to focus more on acting, something he's always wanted to explore but had postponed due to his music schedule. So it wouldn't be surprising if after the army, he comes back starring in a drama right away, riding the wave of military comeback hype. In short, Kang Daniel is another major name who will be missed in the second half of 2025. And with the strong fan base he has, his post-enlistment return is expected to be impactful, maybe even more mature and refreshed, ready for a new phase in his career. Closing out our list, we have Yuyong and Yungj, two key members of GOT7 who are also expected to enlist in the second half of 2025. Born in 1997 and 1996 respectively, both are reaching the final window allowed by the Korean government to begin military service. And even though no exact dates have been announced, internal sources and eagle-eyed fans have picked up on the clues, cleared schedules, contract conclusions, and subtle hints in recent interviews. Everything points to enlistment being closer than ever. Let's start with Yungj, who, besides being GOT7's main vocalist, has also built an interesting path in dramas and musicals. He acted in Netflix's So Not Worth It, and has increasingly invested in projects outside of music, showing that he's positioning himself as a more versatile artist. Yungj has always been one of the group's most stable members in terms of public image. No controversies, a calm personality, and widely loved by the Korean public. His enlistment will definitely be felt, especially among fans who've followed GOT7 since the beginning, but also by those who got to know him through his work on screen. Yugyeom, on the other hand, took a different route. After GOT7's contract with JYP ended, he was one of the first to go solo, pursuing a more mature R&B sound, far from the group's pop style. He also stood out for collaborating with underground artists and for maintaining a low-key and authentic persona. Although he hasn't taken on major roles in dramas yet, Yugyeom has expressed interest in exploring acting in the future, something that could gain momentum after his military service. as has happened with other idols who matured artistically during their time in the army. What makes their enlistments even more symbolic is that they mark the end of a cycle for GOT7. With all the other members either already enlisted or discharged, Yungj and Yuyong will be the last to join the military. This means that, for the first time since the group's debut, GOT7 will be completely inactive for a while. For a group that has always made a point of staying connected, even with each member signed to different agencies, this full pause is a big deal, and an emotional one for fans. However, just like other idols who've gone through this, the expectation is that both will come back stronger. Yungj has the perfect profile to continue acting and singing in musicals. Yuyong is likely to return even more established in the R&B scene. Both have their own artistic identity, loyal fans, and creative freedom, a powerful combination. In other words, the second half of 2025 won't be easy for GOT7 fans. But this pause also opens the door to a new chapter, one that's more mature, more personal, and maybe even more daring. And that, in the end, could be great for both of their careers.